Yours truly today.
MVP. Probably in the office together. Get the scoop.
I actually did some fact check. The only teams that they beat in basketball this year are teams that do not have logos on their field. Unless you got that's pretty solid. They had a 70-point win over University of Minnesota. Or Maine.
There's the story.
No, that's cool. The University of Maine. What? Oh yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go. You know I wanted to be there.
Why would you there?
Well, y'all did a secret location. I walked out to the
It's the first guy ever, so it's a good chef.
I'm a friend.
How are you doing? Oh.
Dang it.
Well, a great day for Texas Tech and a happy birthday to Don Williams. Appreciate you, buddy. This would be a day I remember both, your birthday and signing the fastest class in the nation. Really excited. A lot of hard work goes into a recruiting class. Our coaching staff and our ops staff did a great job. It's a special place whenever these families get to come into Lubbock on official visits, and they fell in love with Lubbock. And they fell in love with Texas Tech. Can't say enough about Dave Martin, Sean Kinney, James Blanchard, Brian Nance, Jake Pittman. I mean, those guys have done such a great job evaluating guys and getting them building this class. But from the coaches to the strength staff to the current players, it took a lot to get this class signed. And I think Texas Tech is going to be really excited to watch these guys play. Our plan, what we were trying to do is really meet our needs in a lot of different positions. I think we signed somewhere in every position except for tight end. We had, some younger tight ends that we felt good about. And then we wanted to really increase our team speed and our length and our size. I mean, y'all know me. I've talked about it a lot before, talking, it's kind of a running joke, but big people beat up little people, and we signed some big offensive linemen and big defensive linemen. And then no matter what, if it's Rivals 247, on 3, tracking football, nobody can question that this is the fastest class in the nation, and that's in black and white. So with that, I'll kind of open it up for questions, and I do know it's a great day to be a Red Raider.
Go Brandon and Jarrett right after Coach, just a couple of questions. First off, Jake Strong committed to you for almost a year. What kind of made him the top quarterback target for you? And also just talk about how solid he was with you guys, even though he had different opportunities.
You know, with Jake, it was really big. I had a previous relationship before I got to Texas Tech, and so did Coach Kitley. So it helped he and his family knowing who we were. I'll never forget sitting in my office. I was talking to him and his dad and mom, and you know, I said, it was kind of like you could feel that they wanted to commit and just want to hear certain things from me. And I said, well, if you commit today and you commit to me and you stop looking around, then I've got my quarterback and I won't recruit another quarterback. And we both kept our promise. And, you know, he signed with us today. Very accurate arm, high football IQ, which you need in this offense whenever it's at the quarterback position, is a guy that is, you know, mobile, what we really wanted. And I'm telling you, I said everything about my staff and putting this recruiting class together. Jake was a big part of it. I mean, from day one, he was, Coach, who are we going after? Send me their number. I'll text them. You know, and he's a guy that's retweeting every offer, every commit, everything. And so he was a big help for us.
Offensive and defensive linemen, bringing in a total of 9 guys. How do you kind of balance whenever they do arrive, playing your veteran guys, but also you have a pretty big pipeline of freshmen and younger guys on those lines?
Yeah, you know, one side of the ball, it's a little bit easier to play when you're younger. Defensive line is a little bit easier to play. Offensive linemen, they usually know that they've got a growth curve whenever it comes to the strength. But really excited. I mean, what I would say about our offensive linemen, we've got legitimate length and height whenever it comes to those guys, but their trait, all 4 of them are nasty. Like, I mean, they are very physical football players. When you turn their tape on, they're trying to finish people. And so that was really exciting. And then when you flip over to the defensive side of the ball, you've got some length. You've got some guys that have really good frames to even add more weight. But when you watch their tape, every one of them chases the ball like their hair's on fire. I mean, they have great get off. They're very physical, and they love playing the game. And so they're really, both groups are, as a whole, a lot alike whenever it comes to those traits.
Looking at Jordan Sanford, how does he build his brand in the desert, as you said on Twitter?
Well, you know, Jordan could be the start of all of that. The Cactus Night back in July, whenever that kind of all went viral, there was another young coach that kind of got all that started, and it was, I think, all over Jordan Sanford. And I'm really glad that we won that battle, and I'm glad he's coming out here to Lubbock. And you know, he is a kid. When we start talking about speed, he ran in the state track meet last year. Excited because he's a mid-year. And so it helps us. He's going to be a corner, and it helps us add depth there in the spring. He's going to get a ton of reps, you know, and so, you know, we got 2 old guys coming back with Malik and Shad, but like Horn is having a great bowl practice, and now you add Jordan in there, and so it gives us some good depth. And for these guys that are mid-years, we have 11 of them. We could add another one, but we have 11 mid-years, and they're going to get a ton of reps. So excited about Jordan.
Speaking with that, with all the mid-years, that's a lot. What does that do? How does that help the program? And just in general, how does that help a recruit or a player get started with his collegiate career?
Well, number one, if you're a mid-year, you have no excuse whatsoever not to walk away from Texas Tech with your master's. You know, we graduate our guys on average 3.5 years, and so you're adding that extra semester. They'll be taking 15 hours, and so you have a great opportunity to get your master's from Texas Tech. Whenever it comes to football, I mean, like the guy that I didn't redshirt this year was Joseph Adedere, who was a mid-year. He's a guy that, you know, came in at about 250 pounds and played at 280. He's a guy that, you know, was in the weight room, was in the meeting rooms, that got to understand the defense that much faster. And so when you get these guys that can do that, and then with us, we've got some guys that, you know, either before or after the bowl game will have, you know, surgeries to clean some stuff up, you know, typical stuff you get from a football season, and so they might miss some spring, and these guys that are coming in mid-years are going to get those reps. And so I think it's a huge learning curve. Just accelerates what they're going to be able to do next year for us.
I realize they're not on campus yet, but any of these mid-years you think have an opportunity of early playing time?
You know, I think we've got 3 DBs that are coming in: Jordan, BJ, and Chap. I think with I could see those guys with their athleticism and the way they play the ball could work their way into those 2 deep. The biggest thing that I think some of these guys are going to be able to do is help us on special teams, because whenever you've got guys that can truly run, like Dingle, and Horn and Macho, I mean, these guys are true, like, go run for Coach Kitley's speed. And so whenever you get guys like that, the ones that can run that are coming in mid-years, they've got a chance to work in on special teams and maybe be in the 2 deep at that position.
Talk about the running back tandem, the signees, Davis and Willis.
West Texas tough, man. I'm excited to get those 2 guys. The thing with both of them, they're so athletic, and they come from schools to where they've played other positions. And so what was really good is, like, when we were talking to Davis, we were like, look, we want you at running back, but you could end up being a safety, and Anquan, hey, we want you at running back, but you could end up being a linebacker. And both of them like, Coach, we just want to play. But they have natural rush skills. Davis is extremely explosive. And so getting those guys to start out at the running back position. Anquan is a mid-year, so getting him in is going to be really good. But I'm fired up about those guys. 1, to keep them home, and 2, having the versatility. That's a versatility they have. That's the thing with this class, too. There are some guys that can play different sides of the ball. Macho has played receiver and corner. Marcus Ramon Edwards probably can play anything. I mean, the way he's growing, 2 years from now, he might be playing outside linebacker. It just depends, on his growth. But, I mean, I think he'd already gained an inch whenever I saw him in the in-home visit. So, really excited about the versatility of those guys.
Is Anquan expected to be healthy for spring?
Yeah, we do. He got to play right there whenever he came back. He got to play, I think, that last game. And so that's another thing, too, is some of the guys, if they are banged up, it's good to be in the building. And we have the best training staff in the country, so being able to do any kind of recovery with us is big.
Coach, you mentioned all the West Texas guys that you got. 5 of those guys in particular are from local high schools around here in Lubbock. What do you hope that says to maybe future recruiting classes? Because when we talk to guys like Curry and Ramon Edwards, they hope that opens up a gateway for future guys in this area to keep going and stay home in Texas Tech.
I think it shows a couple of things. 1, that we're serious about recruiting West Texas. I imagine over the years people have talked about it and then not followed up, and you've got a lot of really good football players playing for other universities. And so we want to keep them home. Guys that have grown up wanting to wear the red and black, we want to keep them home. And then you got to take advantage of guys that can play at this level, that are this close. That their whole families can come, that, people that watched them in high school are going to be able to watch them in college. I mean, I know there's a little bit, there's going to be guys that want to get away from home and stuff like that, and it's just like a college-wise, people think that way, but we want to make sure they have the opportunity to be Red Raiders, especially the ones that, like John Curry. I mean, he was probably wearing red and black diapers, whenever he was a baby. I mean, that guy's supposed to be a Red Raider, and I wanted to make sure that he didn't go anywhere else. And so that's really big, of trying to keep these guys home that are supposed to be here.
Looking at your first recruiting class last year to the one this year, following your first season, is there any common thread that you guys are still recruiting people on, or maybe something different about this class that stood out to you a little bit more? Is it just the speed, probably?
Well, I would say the opportunity to get, the speed is that we have coming on campus is really fast. But I think it's a lot of the same. I mean, if you look at what we did, we recruited defensive linemen. We did that last year. I mean, with Data Ray and McAlpin and Sincere Massey and Harvey. I mean, what you're going to see, we're going to build it up front, and then we're going to be really fast. I mean, those are going to be the 2 common things in every recruiting class. Just because, I think we got a great coaching staff, but it's hard to coach size, and it's hard to coach speed. I mean, those are the two things that, are God-given and guys are blessed with. Our job is to make sure that speed is going in the right direction to the football or with the football as fast as it's possible. So I think there's a lot of common things whenever it comes to this class and last year's class, and it'll be the same with next year's class.
Coach, going off of Mason's question, you're keeping the 806 and the 806. How does it feel knowing that these athletes have likely grown up watching Texas Tech football? They get to suit up as a Red Raider and have their family and, like you said, high school people here to watch them. What do you think that does for the future of Texas Tech football program?
Well, I think we play in the most intimidating stadium in the country whenever our fans are amazing, and I think that helps us. I think whenever you have West Texas kids out here, West Texas people want to get behind that, and Texas Tech Red Raiders want to get behind that. And so I think that helps us. That's not why they're here. They're here because they're great football players that, we wanted to keep home, but it definitely helps. And then the other thing that I think it helps, in the world we live in with name, image, likeness, when you're a West Texas kid that already has a brand here in West Texas, that only helps you create that brand and make it even stronger. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities for these guys whenever it comes to that. But, they're great football players, and I think it really helps our fan base get behind us even more whenever they see West Texas kids playing for the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Coach, what time did you wake up this morning? How excited were you about this class? And how is it knowing that now that this is done, the work on getting next year's class started?
Well, I didn't sleep 2 nights ago very much. I think I got like 2 hours, and we had practice yesterday. It was better. I was probably up about 4:50 this morning. I think I wore my coaches out with text of we had a plan of making sure we contacted all the head coaches of the players that we were going to sign. We contacted all the parents and all the players the last 3 nights. And my last text I sent out last night, I said, make sure you've contacted them. We don't want any surprises this morning. And there were a couple that were not surprises, but they were running behind just with mom having to go to work, and they were meeting her there and everything like that. And so they came in a little bit later, and I was sitting in there trying to get everything, and it was like, somebody get him on the phone, make sure that we are good. And so really, really excited. We'll enjoy today, but I know Blanche and his crew, they're already working for next year, and you'll see offers go out today for 24s and 25s. They're on the clock now, and it's going to be exciting then.
And speaking of Blanche and his crew and all your assistant coaches, what do you have to, your thoughts and just on the work they've done last year, the work they're doing this year, and the work they're doing to prepare the future of the Red Raiders?
We have a high buy-in from our staff. I mean, we have a plan. Everybody's involved in that plan, from writing letters to parents to texting to getting the guys on the phone, and everybody. I mean, really, everybody is all in whenever it comes to that. We've got a really good staff. I think we do have a really good plan in what we do, and I think we made people. The guys that are coming here, I think we made them feel at home. We made them feel that this is where they're supposed to be, and they have a great opportunity. And, I was talking to Kirby yesterday, and I don't think a lot of people really understand, especially whenever it comes to recruiting high school players, the parents and the players they're very interested in being great football players, but they're still interested in getting a great education. And whenever you come to Texas Tech, you have an opportunity to study so many different things at this university, and that's an advantage to us. I mean, if you want to be an architect, you can do it here. If you want to be a doctor, you can do it here. If you want to go to business school, you can do it here. So there's so many things where a lot of places you don't have that at other places where you do at Texas Tech.
What does that say that you had the most academic All-American academic 4 through 12?
It says a lot about Mike, Kate, and Margot. They're our academic coaches that deal with football, doing a tremendous job. It was funny. Our official visit last week, I was talking to a mom about academics. And like I get a daily report on, how people are doing in class, what needs to be turned in. All the coaches do. I text the guys every night whenever it's good or they need to turn in. We have a meeting every Monday on the academics. I mean, it's very important. Coach Martin is head of our student development, and so he and Quentin Jordan really kind of run that side of it in our building. And, man, our guys are really bought into that. They're going to walk away from me. I always tell them, man, be a pro, and being a pro is being a professional. Everybody in this room are pros. They're pros at their job, and if you play 10 years in the NFL, you're only 32 to 33 years old, probably haven't amassed enough wealth to continue to live the lifestyle you've been living in the NFL, so you better have a great education. And that's what our guys, man, they're bought into that and had a great semester. I'm really proud of them.
The unique perspective having so many recruits at Cedar Hill, your time at Cedar Hill, and then recruiting to the previous Big 12 school and now here at Tech. There's an old saying that it's hard to recruit to Lubbock and West Texas. What has your experience been recruiting to Tech so far?
Well, we don't make excuses and we don't let people make them for us. And I've always said that I think that was probably something that was said by West Texas people as an excuse. And there's a lot of numbers coming out today of what this class in the last two classes versus before in the last 10 years of how to do that. I think this is the greatest place on earth, man. I think you get to play behind a passionate fan base. It's a true college city. I say city, not a town, because we have 300,000 people. So you're recruiting to a true fan base to where everywhere you go is red and black. Everywhere you go, every store, you got the double T. You get an opportunity to play big-time football. You're fixed to be in the nicest facilities in the country, and you get an opportunity to get a great education. And so whatever reason people said you couldn't recruit to West Texas, that will never be said again, and will only get better as we continue to grow this program.
What did the mid-year transfers Baskerville and Ledette bring to the program?
Immediate depth. That's one thing I think where you've got to stay ahead of your roster whenever it comes to this day and age of people getting in the transfer portal. And I get it, man. I literally, the guys that are in the portal for us, man, I sent Donnie a text as soon as I saw the graphic and said, congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. I've sent a text over the last couple of days to every one of our guys that are in saying, hey, how can I help you? Whoever you're hearing from, let me help you out if you need somebody to call on your behalf. Because I want those guys they all left the right way. And I get it. I mean, whenever, in a couple of instances, whenever you have old guys coming back, we have two defensive tackles coming back and two corners. So sometimes you might feel that, you're missing an opportunity, and so you leave. And so what those guys do is they add some depth of guys that have played a lot of college football. Both of those guys have played in college football games, and one's going to come in and CJ will play strong safety where Muddy's playing. We've got Tyler Owens, who started games for us this year, who's going to start in the bowl game at boundary safety. And then we create really good depth. We've had to play Tony and Boog too much this year. They've played more snaps than any other defensive tackle combo in the Big 12, and they shouldn't have to. And so Quincy really provides depth to where it could take a load to where they could play that much better. And then our young guys, Banks and Massey have got a ton of reps right now. I don't know if Massey, how much, if any, he'll play in the bowl game, but I expect Duda to play in the bowl game. And so that's really helped. And it, that's why I'm excited about playing in the bowl game. You got some guys that, maybe haven't played yet that are going to get to play in the bowl game and see what they can do.
Coach, 27 is a big number. Are you guys going to add anybody in the February signing period?
There's possible one, but I think we're probably feel really good where we're at. I mean, again, after the bowl game, you never know. I mean, everybody had the opportunity to play in the bowl game. Sometimes it's wanting to go ahead and get ahead to get their name out there, and so some guys might, after that, but I don't think so. I mean, I haven't got any of that feeling or anything like that, but we'll see after the bowl game, and then you just piece it together. You either feel that your young guy is ready to be in that spot and you grow them in that spot, or you feel that we're still a ways away and you've got to add somebody.
You mentioned the early enrollees. Caden Carr is one of those guys. What did you like from him? I mean, he's a West Texas guy through and through, coming down from Canadian. Obviously, he has connection with his brother playing here as well.
Yeah, man, awesome family. I mean, and they bleed red and black. I mean, they really do. His brother has great passion for this university. But what I love about him, I mean, he's a guard, big body, and when you watch him and watch his tape, he finishes. I mean, he has a nasty streak. He's the nicest guy in the world. I think he kind of reminds me of the guy that's going to be coaching him, and Steve Hamby, the greatest guy in the world that walks around here with two little white dogs on pink leashes, and then the next thing you know, he steps between the line and wants to tear your face off. And so that's really Carr. That's really who he is, and that's, we just got to continue growing that to where you have a nastiness in the offensive line, and he's going to bring a lot of that.
Hey, on the subject of the offensive linemen, are there any centers in that group or other guys who look like center guard types, or are they mostly going to give it a look at tackle to begin with?
No, I think Nick has a really good chance to play center. He's got great flexibility, very, very intelligent whenever football IQ-wise. I see him that he could help us at center in that group. And then what we've done, it's not a secret. We're trying to figure out if this is what we're going to do. They've actually alternated every day. Caleb Rogers has been playing center during bowl practice, and Dennis Wilburn has been playing guard. And then the next day, Caleb kicks back out to tackle, and Dennis is back at center. And so and then Sheridan Wilson has been our number 2 center, and he's had a really, really good fall. I mean, I know he hadn't played in the game, but he's a freshman that has really grown up. And so, between those guys, when we go into the spring, I think I do really believe moving Dennis to guard is going to change our offensive line. Then you'll add Cole Spencer back in there. He's lifting and running, and, we'll get his medical year. So where this year it's been tough at times in the offensive line, I think it will turn around and be one of our strengths whenever it comes to next year and definitely this spring. But the one that I look at in that class that I feel good is Nick. Nick has a really good chance to play center.
Receiver, all those guys listed at over 6 feet tall. You don't have a traditional slot-sized guy. Are those guys all project as outside guys, or can one play inside?
Kelby can play inside. He can play both. Kelby is one of those guys that he's a natural ball catcher. He can put his body. He's got a great ability to put his body in position to catch balls. And so we whenever we were looking at these guys, these 3 guys, we were looking for some length and speed outside, and I think that brings that. But I think Kelby is the one that can be the guy that moves inside, and he's one of those guys, man. He doesn't care where he plays. He feels like he can do both.
And on the DBs, the position projection for each of those guys, corner, safety, any star in that group.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to Jordan will play corner and get a lot of Jordan Sanford. And then Brennan Jordan will play star. So in the thing with losing Muddy is you throw CJ in there, and then Brennan Jordan is going to get a lot of reps. And then Chapman, he could play boundary safety or free safety, but we're going to look at him at free safety. And I expect Graham to go to boundary safety. So whenever you're looking at your 2 and 3 deep in the spring, you're going to have a lot of youth, but some really athletic guys in that secondary.
And Marcus Ramon Edwards, is likely a defensive guy or not?
Man, I think he'll start at safety, but that kid, and y'all know as well as I do. I mean, y'all see him on the local news every night. He really is a human highlight. We're going to look at him at safety, but it might be a deal. I used to do this all the time in the spring at Cedar Hill, to where, Tuesdays they might be working DBs and Thursdays they might work receiver, and you just kind of get a feel for him. He's done both. He definitely brings a lot. And then, again, I still don't know. Like him and John Curry, I don't think they're anywhere close to being done growing height-wise. And so it's really interesting to see where they grow into.
Isaiah Crawford, Dylan Spencer, you have listed outside linebackers.
Yeah.
So the projection there is like the position that JP's playing?
So what we're going to do with those outside linebackers is we expect Dylan to go to F, so where Tyree played, and then we expect Isaiah to go to B, which where Josiah played. Dylan, because he's a mid-year, might get some of both, but we're going to start him out at F and start Isaiah out at the B, the boundary backer.
And so Curry, Dingle, and Horn are Will projections, boundary?
Yes. Dingle, Horn, and Curry, they'll all be inside guys, Mike and Will.
Can you talk a little more about C.J. Bastrop?
Yeah, excited. It's funny. I'm talking to his mom and dad the other day, and his brother graduated, and so they didn't get to make the trip. But we have a lot of common people that we know, and I knocked his older brother out of the playoffs in 2014. He played for Katy, and we ended up winning the state championship. And so we knew each other from there, and then I know his head coach really well. And so whenever we saw that his name going to the portal, I called his head coach at high school, and I was like, I remember this kid. He's really long. Looks like he's grown, put weight on. Tell me about him. And he had nothing but great things to say. And it was funny whenever I got him on the phone, I said, hey, we have a spot. I'd love to bring you in this weekend. He said, well, Coach, I'm committing if you have a spot and you're going to offer me. I said, well, don't you want to see? He goes, well, I talked to my parents, and I want to play for you, and I want to come back to Texas. I'm ready to get back home, and so bring me in this weekend, but if you'll take me, I'm committing. And, we were all in whenever he said that.
All right. Have anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.